All right, so the Ahmaud Arbery trial started, and it doesn't look good for the defense. Let me tell you why. My name is Nate the Lawyer. If you are new here, we talk about the law and the facts. If you're about that life, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. So, who's Ahmaud Arbery? Ahmaud Arbery is a young black man who was jogging in a white residential neighborhood. He trespassed onto someone's property, going into their house, looking around, as you see in this footage.
So we're looking at video footage from a house across the street from the location in which Mr. Arbery is alleged to have gone in. If you look at the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see Mr. Arbery come into camera view. He'll stop in front of the property, and then he enters the property. This is a video of him entering the property, and him inside. He looks around, and that's it.
He then comes out the house and starts running down the street. A couple of people jump in a car. They chase him, and at the end of the day, they wind up killing him. The two men who chased Arbery down and actually killed him are now on trial for murder. They're also on trial with an accomplice who also was helping them try to grab Mr. Arbery as he ran through the neighborhood. Now that you know the facts about what happened, let's talk about what's been going on in the trial. So this first week, we started with jury selection, and we ended with opening statements. Now, the opening statements, I'm going to say it, didn't go well for the defense at all. There were a lot of new facts that came out in this trial that we did not know about before. But to really explain it, I have to go back to explain to you what the defense's legal reasoning for the trial is. So, the prosecution is simple. Prosecution is that, hey, these two men were not authorized to conduct a citizen's arrest for Mr. Ahmaud Arbery, who did go into this house. And since they weren't authorized to conduct a citizen's arrest, they weren't authorized to stop him, they weren't authorized to confront him with guns, and then by doing so and killing him, they are now liable, criminally liable for his death, because they essentially were trying to falsely imprison Mr. Arbery, and by falsely imprisoning him, and in the commission of that false imprisonment, he died. That's felony murder. So these men can spend the rest of their lives in jail for felony murder. Now, the news media has made a big deal of the racial makeup of the jury.
Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams, and Dan, the trial's already raising major issues. We heard what the judge said when it comes to the makeup of the jury. Ahmaud Arbery's family, they're saying that it's just another injustice. What do you make of that?
Well, look, you can understand why they're upset. Anyone who says that this is not a case about race, I think, is living in a fantasy world. As a legal matter, when you're talking about the jury here, issue number one is the defense is allowed to strike prospective jurors, at least a number of them, for almost any reason that they want, except race. And so what happened is they went forward and explained various reasons why they dismissed all these people, which were not racially based. The judge basically saying, I don't really believe that, but maybe it doesn't cross that legal line. Number two is that the jury doesn't, as a legal matter, need to reflect the exact percentage of jurors who are of that particular race in a community. And the third thing is, and I think this is something that's not being discussed enough, is there were a good number of black prospective jurors who were honest in the jury selection process and said, you know what, I've seen that video. I can't be fair. I can't honestly tell you that I can be objective here. And that immediately eliminated a number of prospective jurors as well.
The jury now consists of 11 white members and 1 black member. So we'll see how this all works out. Now, besides of the racial makeup of the jury, let's talk about what's actually been going on in the case. First, the prosecution jumps right into it and really tries to destroy the narrative that these men were conducting a citizen's arrest. You would suspect that if you're conducting a citizen's arrest, you have to at least know what you're arresting the person for. But even beyond that, why were these men even chasing Mr. Arbery, right? Because let's just get down to it. If they knew that Mr. Arbery had went into a house and stole something and committed a burglary and started chasing them, then that would be something different. But why were these men even chasing Mr. Arbery? Well, here's the reason why.
Mr. Arbery is running really fast down that street. But the whole thing started when I saw this guy running down the street. Ladies and gentlemen, this is driveway decision number 1. Because Greg McMichael actually has no idea that Mr. Arbery was inside 220, the open unsecured construction site. They're on the same side of the street. He's in his driveway working on his boat cushions. He has no idea where Mr. Arbery is coming from, why he's coming from, or anything. He has no idea that Mr. Arbery has just been inside 220. He only sees him running down the street, really fast, hauling ass, but he only sees him running down the street. And what does he decide to do? He runs inside to get his gun. Travis McMichael is inside the house. Travis McMichael is not outside. Travis McMichael doesn't see Mr. Arbery running down the street. He's inside when Greg McMichael runs inside. Greg McMichael assumed the worst. Greg McMichael had absolutely no immediate knowledge, none, that Mr. Arbery had been inside, wandering around for a few minutes, the open unsecured construction site. No idea. But this is what he tells the police later. This is what he tells the police 2 hours or so later at the Glenn County Police Station. So I thought, well, he's running from somebody. He's just done something. He might have hurt somebody or whatever because, this guy's been in and out of that damn one house over and over and over again, got him on videos and everything. He's assumed the worst and has absolutely no immediate knowledge of any crime whatsoever.
So let's just be clear here. They were chasing Mr. Arbery not because they saw him commit a burglary, right? Their defense attorney even admitted they didn't see him do anything.
Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael sought to detain Ahmaud Arbery. There was no crime committed in their presence. We're not contending there was a crime committed in their presence, but there was probable cause to believe a felony had been committed and that this man was attempting to escape or flee. That's why citizen's arrest is in this case.
Only thing they saw was Mr. Arbery running down the street and someone pointing at him. Now, that allegedly gave them enough information that they can then get guns and go confront Mr. Arbery, who's running down the street. It's kind of a problem. So I think this point can't be missed. If you are going to say that you're arresting someone for a crime and don't know what crime they committed, matter of fact, you don't know even if they did commit a crime. Only thing that you know is that they were running down the street and somebody pointed at them. And when asked, well, what were you doing if you caught him? And they didn't say we're arresting him for burglary. They didn't say any of that. They said we just didn't know. And the defense attorney admits this. Then I don't think they were arresting him for a citizen's arrest, right? What were you doing? And think about this. What would they have done if they caught him, right? If they caught Ahmaud Arbery, right? Let's say they didn't do that. Then what? What was he going to be arrested for? They didn't know. Trespass? So anyway, then we had the defense attorney. Now, the defense attorney did an amazing job with trying to navigate some pretty bad facts. Here are some bad facts. Fact one is that Ahmaud Arbery has a legal right to be running down the street. He has a legal right to run down the street, right? If you were a runner, you had a legal right to run down the street. But does that mean someone has the legal right to pull out a gun and confront you and stop you from running down the street? Now, the defense attorney had to admit that his client stopped Mr. Arbery by pulling out a shotgun and pointing it at him and telling him to stop.
Even an armed person from 20 yards away. So he raises his weapon in the next slide, and you see the distance, because he wants the guy to stop, not because he wants to hurt Ahmaud Arbery. He's not looking for an encounter. If he wanted to hurt somebody, he would have fired on Burford on homes or now down here at the bottom. Ahmaud Arbery doesn't stop. He doesn't say, whoa, hey, I'm good. He doesn't say anything.
Now, think about this. Be a reasonable person. If you're running down the street for whatever reason, and someone stops in front of you and pulls out a shotgun and pointing it to you, do they need a good reason to have done that? Or is that okay? Can they just do that and there be no consequences to that?
All right, now to our other top story. A short time ago, the Oakland County Sheriff announced charges in the incident where a woman pulled a gun in an Orion Township parking lot.
You see this rather shocking scene unfold on cell phone video with the barrel of the gun pointed straight at the camera. We've just learned that woman and the driver of the car have been charged with felonious assault. Sean Lay following this story, and there's a lot.
Right? That makes no sense. But that's what happened in this case. Now, there was a lot of misconceptions that Mr. Arbery just kind of charged the guy when he pointed the gun at Arbery. But no. After the gun was pointed at Arbery, he tried to avoid the gun, and the person with the shotgun went and confronted Arbery again.
And he doesn't stop. Instead, he goes around the truck to the right-hand side, the passenger side, and at that point, Travis McMichael can't see his hands. Remember, he still thinks this guy could be armed because I saw this guy, at least pretend he was, on the 11th. He doesn't know, and he can't see his hands. And his dad, his 64, 65-year-old dad, who's had a stroke, is on the bed, and Ahmaud Arbery could just yank him down or take a shot at him. He doesn't know. So he goes to the front of the truck to get an eye on him. What's this guy gonna do? Good Lord, I hope he just keeps running. Go up Satilla. But he doesn't know, so he goes to the front, and within a split second, Ahmaud Arbery makes a left, not a right. Makes a left and is on Travis, such that Travis has no choice but to fire his weapon in self-defense.
Leading to a confrontation where the gun goes off and Arbery is killed. So, with these bad facts, the defense attorney tried to make it seem like everything that this person did was reasonable. Even though they didn't know what he had done, they didn't know why they were chasing him, and they had no idea that he committed any crime. The defense attorney's argument was that 12 days before the shooting, they found Mr. Arbery in the house, and he had gotten away, and they thought that he had maybe armed. So this is why they ran him down 2 weeks later and grabbed guns and shot him because they were in fear of their lives. Those are not good facts. Now, lastly, one of the more shocking parts of the prosecution's opening is that the owner of the house had seen Mr. Arbery in the house multiple times. And Ahmaud Arbery had never taken anything. Matter of fact, the owner of the house thought it was the white couple, as you see on the screen now. He thought they were the ones that had stolen stuff from his house. And even told that to the McMichaels, who are the people alleged with killing Mr. Arbery, that, hey, I think it's these white guys, but the black guy who's here all the time has never stolen anything.
15 minutes, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to tell you what was said. Officer Rash is standing there, and you know what he says to the McMichaels? He says, I'm talking to Mr. English right now, and he sent me some videos, and Mr. English says that this guy has never stolen or taken anything from this property. So the McMichaels at this point in time are fully informed that the owner of the house has informed law enforcement that Mr. Arbery has never taken anything from this property. They know this. Greg McMichael, of course, pipes up and says, well, it's at least criminal trespass. A misdemeanor.
Another bad fact. Now, sprinkle in the N-word here or there and a Confederate flag on front of the truck, and we have ourselves what people are now calling a racial killing, a lynching. But at the end of the day, McMichaels and his son are saying that they were justified in self-defense. They had the right to chase down Arbery, confront him, point a gun at him, and kill him, even though they had no idea what he had done, if he had even done anything. And they were able to justify this claim of self-defense because he was running down the street and someone pointed at him. I think that's a bad day for the defense. But we have a whole bunch of trial to go, and I'll be streaming it next week. So if you guys want to see my coverage of the opening statements, the video is going to be linked up here. As of right now, I would say I'm not betting on the McMichaels to get out of this one. Looks like they're going to be serving some time. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. Let me know if you think my assessment is right. My name is Nate Deloy, and I'm out of here. Peace.